All right, ladies and gentlemen, what's going on? Wayne Dupree here. It is Tuesday, June 24th. We're doing it again. Who would have imagined we are back? Thanks for tuning in to the Wayne Dupree Show. I want to give a shout out to my lawn guy. He came in yesterday, knocked on the door, and I didn't know who it was, and went outside. He basically told me what he was going to do to the germination, I guess. And as I was walking away, he was like, "You have a podcast, right?" Yeah. He pulled out his phone, found me on YouTube, and subscribed. So let me give a shout out. Let me give a shout out to him. And I appreciate you for tuning in. And I didn't get your name, but I wanted to give you that shout out. Hey, Lisa, I wanted to give him a shout out to thank him for subscribing. And if you know anybody else that would like to subscribe, go to YouTube right now. We're broadcasting on Facebook, which is, let me introduce Jason Robinson from Minnesota. I got something to say about Facebook, so remind me when you get finished.
All right, I'll make it short. Folks, happy Taco Tuesday. Welcome to the Wayne Dupree podcast. Shout out Wayne Dupree's lawn guy. Everybody needs a good lawn guy. Nothing makes you feel better than having a great lawn. My wife and I were just talking about that today because I got to get up and I was like, is 7 o'clock too early to mow? Because it's getting so hot during the day. It's been raining. And she's like, you go for it. And it's like getting up, mowing your lawn, checking in on the Israeli-Iran conflict. Like, it's one thing. You go mow the lawn, you come back, it's something different. Then you hit refresh on Twitter, it's something different again. But, yeah, nothing makes you feel quite as excited as a good lawn and all the crazy stuff going on. But don't forget, like, comment, share. Helps us get reach on the show. Back to you, Wayne. Facebook rants incoming.
They shut us down on Wayne Dupree Show, Facebook. They shut us down on Unfiltered View on Facebook. But I can still share to the profile page.
Your personal page.
My personal page. I can share. So all of you, longtime friends, families, thank you for tuning in. If you are, make sure that you're sharing the show. Thank you so much. Jason, I tried to grab the link from my personal and share it to my page.
I don't want you doing that.
It wouldn't let me.
You are in Facebook jail.
It would not let me. I was like, okay, all right.
Is it off of that video thing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. And the crazy thing, I'm not a repeat offender. I mean, I don't put up bad stories or anything like that. They one and done. And this is supposed to be from Zuckerberg, who's supposed to change things and stuff. I don't care if you got an AI reading the stuff or not. I really don't care. But if it's, I mean, I can understand if I'm wrong, but I'm not wrong. You know, whatever though. The devil is loose. Ceasefire.
What time is it? Has it changed again?
It's Jason, it's 12:05. You know what? And I knew something was wrong when I was going to bed because, in a way, President Trump came out. President Trump was like this staggered. I had never seen a staggered like that, giving one person 6 hours or 2 hours, 3 hours, and then another person said, okay, fine, whatever. But when the word came out, Jay, that Iran had fired missiles toward the military base, just like you said yesterday. I don't know how you knew about it, but there was
Trump and I
nobody
were
there.
talking. We figured that would be.
There's nobody there on the base.
Yep.
But Iran had contacted President Trump and said, this is what we're going to do.
Yep.
Okay. Now, we'll talk about that a little bit later. But President Trump got on there and it's got, ceasefire. They let me know. Ceasefire coming. And then you read that Israel was sending missiles over to Iran because Iran fired missiles off to but didn't hit nothing, and Trump already knew. But Iran, as this morning, wait, you know what? I got it. I don't want to mess up President Trump in all his glory. I ain't gonna play the F thing though. I can't.
Come on!
I can't do that. No, I can't. But ooh. Okay, well, I get him. But yeah, am I wrong? Is that what happened last night?
Yeah. So, as predicted on the Wayne Dupree podcast yesterday, Iran attacked essentially an abandoned military base. It sounds like they fired 12 missiles. We knocked 11 down, and then the 12th they let hit because it was going to hit somewhere where no people were, or in the desert or something. I've heard different reports. So Iran got their media propaganda. That's all they needed. Hey, we attacked the White Devil. We attacked this base.
You know what? You keep saying that, but they don't say that. Why do you keep putting White Devil in there?
Oh, that's one of the common phrases people in the Middle East use when they refer to America. The Great Satan, the whatever. It's back to way back to like 20 years ago in Middle Eastern conflicts. They hate us, they hate Christians, they hate capitalists, all that stuff. But anyways, so they got their attack against America, and then Trump tweets out later that day, like, hey, both parties have agreed to a ceasefire. Mm-hmm. And then it had a start time like 5 hours later. And I looked at the wife when the attack went by. She's like, God dang, you were right. You said that's how it goes.
Yeah.
Like, yep. Yeah, and then I said, what would be interesting is, like, can both sides keep all their players under control? And it sounds like Iran, because even like some of the leadership of the Iranian military is like, okay, yep, we accept this ceasefire. And then someone, who knows if it was on their own or if it was approved, but they thought it was a good idea to fire shots at Israel, more missiles. Israel, then, of course, they're not standing down on that. They're going to fire missiles back. And now it's just been this back and forth. Nothing too destructive, it sounds like. But it's more like two kids fighting and each want to get the last word in. So, and then Trump this morning, I think he woke up. I'm not sure where he was flying to, but if Wayne found the clip.
Meeting. It was a NATO. It was a NATO meeting.
NATO meeting? Yeah. And then Trump, they caught him and they interviewed him, and he sounded like just disgusted with both of them. And he dropped the F-word, which is amazing.
For me, I was like, they had done their damage. They'd already talked it out. And I was like, to me, I was like, man, the only thing is that Israel usually always says that when there's a ceasefire, somebody attacks them. So right after the ceasefire happens, Israel always comes out. They haven't stopped. We have to keep on going.
Yeah,
they always do that. And I was like, I wonder if they're going to do that. And they did it. They came out and said, we're they didn't just come around and said it, but their reasoning was because Iran had attacked Qatar, or
they hit
Qatar.
me. I hit them, Dad.
I was like, did anybody from the United States ask y'all to do that?
It was funny too, and I can't validate the number, but I went into AI and I'm like, how many times has a ceasefire been violated?
You know what? I did the same thing.
Israel. I did the same thing. It was like 380
Yep,
or something.
Yep.
And,
I did the same thing.
And Trump, like I say, his interview today or his quick clip was, he was just disgusted. It was like, you're a dad, you go into your young kids, you break up the fight, then you walk out of the room, and then little Johnny wants to hit little Timmy because they want to get the last shot in, and Timmy's not going to stand for that. He was just like, I'm done with you guys. And now today he's retweeting out. They took compilation tweets of people that are tweeting like, let's just get back to deporting everybody. And he put them all in like one screenshot and was sharing that. So I hope this means we're going to quit messing around in the Middle East. And let's go back to deportations.
Here now, this is the first one. This is the now, and I was shocked, but he saw what I saw, and it really pissed him off because Iran talked to him. I don't think Israel talked to him, and I don't know. I woke up this morning. I was like, oh, y'all didn't really ticked off President Trump.
I don't think so, but I'm not happy that Israel's going out now. There was one rocket that I guess was fired overboard. It was after the time limit, and it missed its target. And now Israel's going out. These guys got to calm down. Ridiculous.
How will you respond if you keep firing fire?
I didn't like plenty of things I saw yesterday. I didn't like the fact that Israel unloaded right after we made the deal. They didn't have to unload. And I didn't like the fact that the retaliation was very strong. But in all fairness, Israel unloaded a lot. And now I hear Israel just went out because they felt it was violated by one rocket that didn't land anywhere. That's not what we want, I'll tell you. And I'm telling you, I'm not happy about that, Israel, either.
Yeah. And then which I thought that it was over, and it wasn't over because I was watching TV. I was like, oh, they start asking questions. And then this happened.
Do you believe that Iran is still committed to peace?
Yeah, I do. They violated it, but Israel violated it too.
Are you questioning if Israel is committed?
Israel, as soon as we made the deal, they came out and they dropped a load of bombs, the likes of which I've never seen before. The biggest load that we've seen. I'm not happy with Israel. When I say, okay, now you have 12 hours, you don't go out in the first hour and just drop everything you have on them. So I'm not happy with them. I'm not happy with Iran either. But I'm really unhappy if Israel's going out this morning because of one rocket that didn't land, that was shot, perhaps by mistake, that didn't land. I'm not happy about that. You know what? We basically...
Now, I didn't mute that, okay? I didn't mute that. So I thought everything was over. And then come to find out, he said the F word right after that.
They don't know what the F they're doing.
Yep. I was like, oh. But they cut it off on YouTube. They cut it right before they said it. I was like, okay, well, that must be the end of the interview. Until I saw after
the clip going around.
Yeah, I was like, I thought this was a good clip, and then I missed the end. I'm not punchline, but I missed that bit, But
that might be the first time I've ever seen the president of the United States say the F word on like national TV.
Yeah. And most of the media, they played it. Any other? Nope. No, they put it up there. I was like, oh, they let that roll, didn't they? They don't care about the FCC these days, do they? I guess not. So,
not the worst thing you'll see on TV. But I gotta say, I'm with Trump. He just looks like a man who's done. And I like the fact that he's also because what Israel did as well, they just unloaded the clip on a bunch of missiles. And, some Yahoo in Iran shoots one and Israel's like, fine, hit the button. And here comes 100. It was the Israeli government. We talked about it a little bit yesterday. There is a good chance that Israeli government led by Netanyahu is not well-intended, is not they have their own agenda. They have, and it's kind of like that shady business guy that you kind of briefly interact with. And it's like, okay, you just go do you. Like Israel, you take care of your stuff. We don't want to get sucked into your nonsense.
Yeah. I mean, for me, I was like, there's something that ain't right. You know, I mean, you can support Israel, the people, all you want. You know, they're great people. But there's something that's not right
With their
when
government.
yes, there's something not right. And because I still feel that somehow, some way, Jay, you know how you were right yesterday. I'm gonna put this out there. They're gonna come and say that they were attacked again.
Yes.
They're gonna break, and we have to respond. And Iran's gonna say, no, we didn't do it. Well, somebody did it, and we're gonna blame you. You know, especially if the report comes back that especially if the report comes back that it's not, you know, whatever.
I gotta say it's
Yeah.
interesting too. I this morning I was watching Theo Vaughn did an interview with Thomas Massey, and this was before this last round of stuff. And I enjoy Thomas Massey. Some things I don't fully support him.
Yeah,
You know, he's
Yeah.
an interesting guy, but it was interesting when they got to the part of the interview where they were talking about Israel, because he is one of the few politicians that has actually banned AIPAC from his office. Like, I don't even want you guys in my office.
Really?
And I had heard that before, and it was interesting, and I haven't had a chance to fact check it, so this is just what Massey was saying. But he was talking about, we give the greatest amount of money to Israel of any country in the world. And I haven't fact checked that, so I don't know if that's true or not, but it's like, I believe that probably is. I know we give billions to Israel and different things.
Yeah.
And then he draws the connection where part of the Israeli thing is they always frame it up that it's good for our military industrial complex, because so we give Israel money, they buy weapons from our military contractors, and then they go shooting them off at, you know, shooting them back at other people. And it's funny because you start kind of connecting those dots. It's like, that's just interesting. And like I say, I haven't fact checked it. These were the claims Thomas Massey was making, but it puts in perspective too why Israel's always kind of in a state of conflict. You know, if the government is somewhat of a money laundering operation with the military industrial complex, let's just say Bibi isn't on the up and up or whatnot. Like, that makes sense. And it was interesting too, because Massey had another number. He said it was the Massey number, or the military industrial complex number. He's like, if we don't fire off like $500 billion worth of munitions every year, all those companies go out of business, because if you aren't shooting off your weapons, like, they don't get to sell you more weapons or sell you more ammo. So it's pretty fascinating interview.
You know, another interview. We've been kind of touching on. I'm not going to say it's a civil war. I'm not going to say it's a civil war, but they've been lobbing some big ones though. Mark Levin and Laura Loomer and Tucker Carlson. Tucker Carlson. When Hutch was here and we used to talk about Tucker, I mean, man, I don't like Tucker. But that was me. I mean, you know, I
like Tucker.
Right. I mean, you know,
we all have different opinions.
Yeah. And, you know, it was like, I just didn't like the way that things, I don't like when TV people that have been reading notes and stuff all this time, knowing this stuff is wrong, they continue to do it for a paycheck. And that's the same way that I feel about people online doing the same thing. But the back and forth that's going on between Tucker and Laura and Tucker and Mark. I mean, Mark's mad that President Trump is talking ceasefire.
Right.
I was like, what? You know, dude, I mean, I don't remember Mark ever suiting up in Israeli IDF type of way, you know. But Tucker was on this podcast, and he has some choice words. He has some choice words, and listen for the word New Jersey, because I busted out real.
Right.
I think I lost my breath laughing about
pretty
this
funny.
New Jersey bit when he said it.
But Levin, again, doesn't care about the United States. And they're all wearing the Trump skin suit right now because they think it suits their purposes. These are people who hated Trump. They're anti-Trump. They're never Trump. And that would include a lot of people on Fox News who I worked with for 15 years. I know what their political views are. They're my colleagues. They hate Trump. They hate him personally. They hate his agenda. They hate his economic views. And they really hate his foreign policy views, which in private they describe as insane and isolationist. He's a Nazi and all this stuff. I mean, they really have contempt for him. They kept him off the air at Fox News while I was there against my protests. So that's all true. And it's very frustrating as a literal person who cares about what's true to see people jumping up, Mark Levin or Laura Loomer, that's the world's creepiest human. I don't even know where she came from or who she is exactly, but she's running around. I'm Donald Trump's, defender. It's bizarre. Champion. And I'm the arbiter of what it means to be for America, someone who, again, has no interest in the United States, demonstrated no interest. So I think it's just important. It's not a matter of score settling, and I don't care what Mark Levin does in his private life. I don't care what his opinions are. And Laura Loomer, I'm not even really sure who she is. However, if people like that are able to take over a political movement whose stated goal is to serve the United States, first and foremost, America first, make America great again, if those people can take control of that political movement, first of all, it's an offense against reality and truth, but second, it's really dangerous for the country. I mean, they washed out of the Democratic Party, the same people, and now they're trying to take over the Republican Party. How about no? Unbroken track record of failure, unbroken track record of ideas that hurt the United States in measurable ways, impoverished the United States, put us in unpayable debt, killed a ton of people, destabilized the world, caused a refugee crisis in Europe, destroyed Europe. That's a lot of destruction for one group of people and one set of really bad ideas, the John Boltons, the Bill Kristols. Can they be allowed to take over the Trump White House? No. How about no? Just as an American. I mean, I don't really care what people think of me at this point. I'm 56. You were wrong. Well, I've been wrong many, many times. I'll be wrong many, many more times. But the one thing I am is sincere. I really mean it. I don't care about the effect on me. I don't want to relive Iraq. And I know the people who did it. I lived among them. I defended it. I repeated their talking points. Not doing that again. And we came really close to doing that again because of Mark Levin and Laura Loomer and the rest of these morons who've never even left New Jersey. Like, they don't know anything about the world. That's the other thing. They're dumb. They don't know. They don't know.
Never left New Jersey. I mean, I was like, all right, Tucker, that's a little below the belt. I mean,
pretty good.
Wow. Okay. Wow, that's good. Yeah, but I mean, he's it is what it is. Like I said yesterday to start the whole thing, you believe in what you believe. Believe in what you believe. Now, if you can convince somebody, if that's what you're trying to do, if you can convince somebody to believe what you believe, more power to you. But you let if they ask you, you let somebody know what you believe, and then you just keep it moving, right? I mean, if they want to know more, they'll tap you on the shoulder and ask you for some more. Or
I think the big point I want to agree with Tucker on. I mean, there was a long diatribe from him, but this idea that we can go over and just militarily support some faction, even though it drives our country into bankruptcy, doing this all the time, and make them suddenly America. Like, let's overthrow the government, hand you a copy of the Constitution, and suddenly you're America. It just doesn't work that way. Like,
right.
we've seen a constitutional republic is not set up effectively in most Middle Eastern countries, a lot of the Arab world, even in like South Africa, where they talk about, hey, they got a constitution. They have a straight democracy, not a constitutional republic, which presents a lot of problems. But they just all have different cultural beliefs, and we can't do it. And I mean, throughout history, nothing has destroyed countries more, not just than the war killing all the people, but just the economic consequences of that. And these idiots like Levin just think, well, yeah, let's just economically participate in every war ever and think that's going to turn out. No, it's driving us to bankruptcy. We just can't do it. Uh-oh.
Breaking news. President Trump says no one goes on vacation. Said if the mega bill isn't passed by July 4th. But, you know, I kind of figured that, honestly, the House would pass it before they left for August.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't think the Senate was going to pass it until after September. Because when they get back from that, they got to do the end of the year spending right after. And
well, let me give you a fun one too. So we have our debt badges, right?
Mm-hmm.
And is yours like $36.2 trillion? Is that what you're showing, or is it showing higher? I got to reboot mine.
Yeah, I'm rebooting mine right now.
But anyway, so we are over the debt ceiling right now. People don't realize that. That's part of the issue with the bills and whatnot we're encountering. So what they're doing is
$47,000 per second.
Yeah.
36 trillion. Yep.
Yeah, we're over the debt ceiling. So what the government's doing, so these guys, like if your business or your personal finances, you did what the government did, like you would be in jail. So right now what they're doing to cover this debt ceiling, since we're over the credit limit, we can't just sell bonds. They are taking assets from like postal workers and different government funding things, because we do have money in like pensions and that kind of thing, and they are selling those to use the money to pay the debt. And then once we get the debt ceiling lifted, they'll have to buy assets to put back in those funds. So it's like such a shell game with all these numbers. It is ridiculous.
Yeah. I mean,
although I did have an idea too for a debt badge. If anybody wants $1 million idea, we do the illegal immigrant badge. And so we have like the number of illegal immigrants in there. And then every time Trump deports, we have a count backwards.
That's funny. That's a good one. Yeah, this $36 trillion.
Oh, it's going to be over 37 though. Once they increase the debt ceiling. So once you that pass and the big beautiful bill pass, then all of a sudden hit refresh on your debt badge, because it's going to jump up about $1 trillion.
You know, I remember when President Trump was running the first time in 2016, he was like, if it ever gets over 20,
right,
25, 20,
whatever the number was.
It was low. Well, it wasn't as much as it is right now, but if it ever gets over that, we're in trouble. That's right. It might have been 24. We're in trouble. We're definitely in trouble if it gets over this. And now it's at 36.
Well, they keep changing the goalposts too, where now it's, what percent of GDP or that sort of thing. I mean, we are so screwed with spending, and the fact that this Congress won't help take a bite out of it is, I'm losing all hope that like our Congress, until we shut it down with like spending, we're going to be screwed. And it would be nice too if they spent money on things that actually like build something. You know what I mean?
And you know what? If that was the case, if that's what they did, I don't think Americans. Well, first off, America would be a whole lot better. But I don't think America, like, they could be okay with a few trillion. I mean, I'm talking about a few, like no more than 5. If it was to make America really great and better, Because when you look at other countries, I mean, China is just killing it. I mean, I don't know how are they $36 trillion in debt?
Yeah, they've got a lot of debt.
They got a lot, but is it $36 trillion? I don't think so.
No, I think we're the world record holder.
But if you look at their country and all the stuff that they're doing in there, I'm like, Jesus, they got automatics. They got automatic street sweepers, man. I mean, the places, well, in various places, it's cleaner than the Board of Health. They got bridges that I'm sorry, I keep laughing because it's ridiculous. They got bridges that almost reached the atmosphere.
Right. And if you think about it,
on 2 strings,
in America, we used to do cool stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like we used to build things like the Hoover Dam or, the interstate highways, those sorts of things. But our government is so bloated, corrupt, inefficient, whatever word you want to use. And we've shifted the spending out of like actually building cool infrastructure things to who am I going to give money to, which group, which organization. And it's all given, if they really wanted to help Americans, they would say, okay, here's $10,000 to go start a business and not $10,000 to pay your grocery bill. Like paying your grocery bill does nothing to build your long-term future, like helping you start a business. That's why, like in the chat, they were talking about interest rate. Powell's digging in like a tick on a dog, man. He ain't going to lower interest rates. And you, no matter what you do with the big, beautiful bill, with tax cuts, all that, if you can't find a way with tariffs, the whole thing, if you can't find a way to make capital affordable for people so they can take loans to start building these factories and creating these businesses, then it's all for naught, because you have to have cheap enough money to make it worthwhile.
Real quick, it looks like the Senate bill somehow is going to touch Medicaid.
Yes.
Yeah. Even though we keep getting the how do you call it? Even though we keep getting the message, don't touch it, but it looks like they're going to touch it, man. Holly is urging Trump to, Holly is urging Trump to remove Medicaid cuts from his one big beautiful bill, but President Trump is like, don't touch the Medicaid. Am I wrong about that?
I haven't seen the specifics from the bill, and it's so hard to flush through what they're talking about. In the Senate, what they were talking about is finding a way to add work requirements to Medicaid, to cut back some of the spending by forcing them to get into fraud, that sort of thing. And like, they're not looking to lower an individual's receipt of Medicaid benefits today, if that makes sense. They think there's enough fluff in the program where they can cut it back. Politically, it's a landmine, and I think Trump's right.
It is a landmine. Yeah.
Trump's right to say just don't touch it. I mean, should we touch it? Yeah, but of all the things, if you want a good way to lose the midterm elections, let's start going in and trimming. Even though, like I say, you as an individual user of Medicaid, they're designing the cuts where it won't hurt you. You'll still get the same benefits and all that. But what they're trying to do is set it up so that when they cut the fraud, they cut the people that shouldn't be getting it, that kind of thing, and then it brings it in line. I just think it's political kryptonite, and so I don't know why you'd give Democrats that pill. And like I say, in the next 12 years, we're going to have to revisit Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, all of it, because it's all going to be bankrupt in 12 years, roughly. So I like doing a little cut here or there is just going to be political theater.
Said Holly Senator Hawley said Senator Hawley is blaming Democrats for destroying our economy, like Republicans didn't have anything to do with it, which he claimed forced employers not to offer health care, which is the Obamacare thing, I guess. So they're on Medicaid. He explained, these are Trump people. These are our people. These are the people who voted for Donald Trump in the state of Missouri by 18 percentage points. Medicaid is all they got, the senator added. And that's not because they're lazy. It's because, and it's not because they're bums. These are good working people, Trump voters, but in today's economy, because of what the globalists have done to our economy and our industrial sector, this is all they got. Quote, if you're paying in with your tax dollars and you can't otherwise afford something, then we ought to keep your Medicaid. This is Hawley. He was speaking with Steve Bannon. I guess it was yesterday. Trump's spending bill would reportedly strip healthcare from more than 10 million Medicaid recipients nationwide.
Yeah, and most of those are illegals or people that should be working, that sort of thing. And like I say, in my opinion, anytime anybody goes after that, it's tough. And just to give a real world example, so my wife works for an eye place and that does eye surgery. Most of that is done on old people. She works now in the billing and collection department. So if you received eye care and are behind on your bill, you will hear from my wife, Jen Robb from Minnesota. And she interacts with a lot of people. Most of them are on Medicare, Medicaid, some sort of program. And the lack of understanding of them and the number of times a day when it's like, well, Medicaid doesn't cover that you hear, oh, that's because Trump's cutting it. And it's just this population that you're engaging with that doesn't understand. Like, we can try to message the best we can, like, oh, we're cutting it from illegals. It's going to fall on deaf ears, you know. I mean, the folks that will be most engaged with that will be ones who've never logged on Twitter and don't know how to find a Rumble channel, you know.
Mm-hmm. And you know what? I used to talk about that a lot too. Just like I say, a lot of half the nation still doesn't vote, or half of those that are eligible to vote still don't participate. It's the same. Is the same thing that a few of them don't vote because they don't see any use. You know, it's not because they're dumb or stupid. They don't see any use to it because both sides, you know, hit that tennis ball and it's just a tennis ball game. But what you said just a while ago, God darn, see, I messed up again. Lisa, I messed up again. God dog. Congratulations to my daughter. She just got authorization to test for the board of nursing.
Nice.
So, okay. Registered nurse. And you know what? She's picking the cardiac portion of nursing.
Oh, that's cool.
She's picking that. That's what she told everybody at the graduation party. I did that because of my dad. So, and when I was in the military, my job when I was going in was supposed to be a cardiopulmonary specialist. Cardiopulmonary. I did it again. Can you say that for me? Pulmonary. Cardiopulmonary respiratory specialist. Yeah. That's what I was supposed to be.
Giddy up.
Yep. So it got passed to the daughter now. She's wearing the white. You know, she's wearing the white now. But yeah, with you know, this, if my mom was still around, I would be, my mom ain't no illegal. My mom worked her tail off. And I didn't even really know. I told you over and over again, I thought Medicaid was something that you paid into. And it looks like that's what Holly was saying is something that you paid into. I don't think that's what it is. I think Social Security is what you pay into. But I think because if it was something that you paid into, then the government wouldn't be asking for their money back.
Well,
right? No?
Well, the concept of paid into is where the sentence gets funny. If you work or you're self-employed and file your taxes, you pay money into the Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid. Medicaid is for poor people. And so poor people could have never paid into Medicaid and still been receiving benefits from Medicaid. So when he references,
but everybody has to pay back, though. Everybody has to pay back no matter what.
Yes and no.
Unless you don't have any assets, then they just write it
right.
off. Okay.
Yep. Yeah. So if you're a poor person who hasn't worked, you qualify for Medicaid, you get your insurance for free. What isn't covered by your copay in states like Minnesota, you can't do anything substantive to recoup your medical bills if you're a medical provider. So like if you owe $1,000 to a hospital, they can call you and say, oh, you need to pay your bill, but they can't do anything. They can't add it to your credit report. Eventually they just write it off. Like there is zero consequence for you negatively in Minnesota for carrying a medical debt. You could have $100,000 worth of medical debt, go apply for a car loan, and that won't even be included on your credit report. It's the most bizarre thing ever. And it varies state by state. But no, I mean, a lot of people are receiving Medicaid who have never paid in and will never pay in. And then there are people that, owe money. And I mean, we talked about it when you get into the Medicare phase. Like if you're an old person in assisted living, like all your money disappears. Congratulations.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, we didn't know. There are people out there that know. And when I found out, I wanted my audience to know about the Medicaid, I call it a scam because it is.
Yep.
But and then when you told me that the Medicaid was really, what's Medicare again?
Medicare is old people. Medicaid is poor people.
All right. So that's something I didn't know. And that's something that we were trying to tell people after my mom passed when we got the letter. We got a letter from the Medicaid people.
Right.
And it wasn't even on our radar. It just popped up. We're like, y'all owe $65,000. What? What are you talking about? Yeah, my mom paid into that. I mean, and then when we learn, because we're not posted it on social media, when you learn that some people, I don't know about many, but some people said, yeah, we had to sell Dad's house. It's like, oh my gosh.
Well, and it's bizarre too, because all of these programs, they define federal level stuff like, hey, here's your guidelines, here's your federal money, but it's administered by the state. So you can be a state like Minnesota that has way stupider laws than Maryland or Texas or Florida or pick a state, and in Minnesota, that was one of the big talking points this last budget round. It was like, we really don't want illegal immigrants to be getting Medicaid. And Democrats are losing their mind. It's like, think of how much more it's going to cost if they can't blah, blah, blah. And it's like, wait a second. Why are we moving people up here and giving them free government health care? Like, are you kidding me?
Yeah. Terry Bauman said, I don't think Medicare or Medicaid takes money from Social Security. I don't think that's what he said, but
no, it all, your tax dollars go to it. And your tax dollars, when it's broken down, that's looked at on budgetary purposes as like all the spending we fight about and we talk about the budgets and all that is 25% of total spending. 75% of it is in entitlements. which are Medicare, Medicaid, Social Security, and those are actually defined by law. So you can't just pass a budget to change those. You actually have to change the laws. So there's very little they can do to tweak it. So like these Medicaid cuts, they're saying, and I use cuts in quotes, they're saying like you can't give it to illegals and people should have to work to get Medicaid. That will result in fewer people getting Medicaid. But yeah, it's very much a shell game.
And for those that are still confused, Jason's basically saying that while the money doesn't come out directly, you don't see Medicaid on your stub, your paper. Right? You don't see it that way, but you do. You're paying indirectly through federal, state, and even local taxes. It basically what he's saying.
Yeah, and like Dragonfly just said, when you retire, Social Security takes from the plan you chose. Yes and no. I mean, you choose how much you get based on when you retire, when you start drawing from your fund. If you take it earlier, you get less. If you take it later, you get more per month. But there really isn't a fund. Like everybody has this perception that like you get your 401k statement and like, oh, I got $100,000 sitting in my 401k. That's not how Social Security works. Like they will send you a statement for what your monthly benefits are, but there is no pile of money sitting there to pay those. Whoever's currently paying a tax bill, that money is going from them to you. Your money's gone. Your money went to pay for the old people when you were young.
Yeah. So hopefully that clears up a lot of stuff. Let's see. Matt Gaetz caught. Matt Gaetz caught getting scolded by his mom for criticizing Trump. You know what? Let me add this to the show so that I can get this on record because I want to make sure that this isn't lost in translation. I posted on social media earlier this morning because I don't want people like if you are in a place where you want to ask questions that because in watching what's going on between Levin and Loomer and Tucker and all these people that we talked about earlier, dang gone. Was this last week when we talked about it? Because it's only Tuesday. It's like if you don't go along with this, then you're the enemy. You know, it's like I didn't think our side was like that. That's a liberal take. That we've been banging people for years. Didn't mean it like that. Didn't mean it like
that. Pre-show.
We've been slamming. We've been blasting. We've been yelling at people for years. Because especially people from the left side of politics, that y'all only think one way. We allow free thought. We have free thinkers on our side. So if you do have free thinkers on this side, then why are you excommunicating people when they don't agree with what you're saying? I mean, yeah, you know. So this morning, and if you believe in asking questions, keep on asking questions. Many of you have principles that you live by. This is the way I am. I like this. I like getting up in the morning. What time do you say, Jason? 7, 5,
4:30.
Most of us get up at 4:30 and cut our grass. You know, I mean.
Oh no, I mow the lawn at 7. Yeah.
Okay, 7. Yeah.
4:30.
Yeah, I mean 7. What's your score, Jason? Because you didn't text me. What's your score?
Oh, I didn't. Well, it was 100.
Okay, all right.
2
Okay,
days in a row. So,
okay, all right. I got
my CPAP has started doing what yours did, where it didn't update right away. It was like yesterday. It didn't update till like 10 in the morning. I'm like, this is stupid.
I know. I don't know why it takes that long, but
usually my
does.
machine, it's like I take the dogs out and it updated, and I'll text it right away. But then, like yesterday, it was later in the day, and yeah, it was stupid. Okay. But anyways,
critical thing. If you believe a certain way, don't change the way you believe just because of somebody else. If the other person, me and Jason don't agree on everything. We agree on many things, but we don't agree on everything. I don't change the way that I think just because he thinks the way, and he doesn't change the way he thinks because of the way that I bring something across, and you shouldn't have to either. Let's see, here it is. I tweeted, when I proudly serve in the military, it was to protect American people. I've said that many times on this show. I did not go to serve Congress. As a matter of fact, I don't like politicians. I don't care who they are. I don't like them. I think it's all a scam. I think they go up there, they get paid six figures, and they don't do a damn thing. They don't do nothing. So my default is I'm going to question everything that I see. I don't care who it is. And that's called accountability. We're supposed to have that. The people that were in charge of the country, the forefathers and whatnot, they put that in place. You're supposed to have accountability. And lately, we've seen people that they challenge Biden, they challenge Bush, they challenge Obama, they Clinton, even some might have challenged President Trump in his first term. I know we did, especially in Syria and stuff. We challenged him, but now they're just saying or trying to make it seem like President Trump is beyond criticism. He's not. He'll even let you know to a certain extent. He doesn't come out and apologize, but to a certain extent, you know when he probably messed up because he'll come another way, but you also have to know who he is as a person. Critical thinking is not a crime. It's who we are as humans. That's just how it is, you know.
Well, I got to say, one of the things I most respect about President Trump is it takes a very confident, smart, talented person to sit there, have an opinion, allow somebody to present a rational argument that you may not have considered. Hey, what about this or that or the other thing? And actually be willing to change your opinion. Like the farm workers, when they were talking about, oh, we're not going to deport farm workers. And everybody spoke up and said, no. We said all of them. Let them go home. Let them come in legally. The Trump team quietly changed their position on that. And I think President Trump, that's why he's done so well, is he has been a businessman his whole life. He can look at a set of facts. Okay, the facts are different. The facts are changing. What can we do? And there's so much public outcry. Every time some business whines about like, oh, I don't know what I'm going to do. All my workers are gone. People are saying like, well, throw that guy in jail. You've been employing illegal immigrants. Like we don't want to like, no, there was somebody who was willing to hire Americans and do it right that should have a company now that doesn't, because you hired illegals and could undercut them price wise. But
Trump, you know what? Sometimes in our business, we've seen presidents do that in the past.
Right.
The only problem is that the other side gets to call them a flip-flopper. Even though they might not, President Trump had, okay, well, you know what? Yeah. And the only reason why President Trump probably got another view is because somebody went the vehicle that I'm trying to tell our listeners. Don't change who you are.
Yep.
If this is the way that you think, let somebody else know. So, and because they can see it from, well, if they're open-minded, they'll see it from that point of view, and then they're changed. Now, as I said, that has happened in the past with many presidents and politicians. But in today's language, both sides are quick to say, well, that's flip-flop. Or they'll create names and stuff, in a way when somebody sits down and really thinks about what they're going to do, and then they do something different for the better or for the worse. But I also said this morning that if any of our allies, and this is to any ally. It wasn't just to Israel, but if any of our allies think that they can quietly break a ceasefire that was put in place or work or molded by our president or our president in conjunction with another country, because it seemed like Qatar had a whole lot to do with it. But if any of our allies think that they can break a ceasefire quietly, thinking that the U.S. is going to back them with a blank check, I think that all funding should stop immediately. And I think that we should even charge that ally and make them pay for whatever they did. And I mean money. I mean hit them hard. So the next time, because some of these allies out here, Jason, they're like, we'll just do whatever we can do. And if they hit us or we lose a person or something, we'll just go running. Jason, they attacked us. Well, yeah, I know you went after them. I know, but we're friends, we're buddies. Back me up. Okay, all right. I'll back you
Well,
up.
I was gonna say I want to change the language that you use there, because we use that language so often. We have allies. I think we are the world's sugar daddy, and we have hoochie mamas that come around. Because if you think, you all know that suave guy who's got all these hoochie mamas, he's giving them money to get their hair done, their nails done, that kind of thing. But when his house needs cleaning, ain't not one of them show up to clean his house. Or when something needs to happen, like these hoochie mamas, like, no, they're there when it's time to take them out to dinner, go to a movie, that kind of stuff. When you use the term ally, you are implying a reciprocal relationship where we work together to solve problems, to do things. No, we are the host. They're the parasites in many cases. We are giving them money and resources, and that's why they are our friend. We're providing them security, and that's why they're our friend. And they are yet to lift a finger. Like Desert Storm, I could be wrong. Somebody fact check me. How many Israeli troops joined us in Desert Storm? How many of our allies joined us in Desert Storm? I mean, if these guys are our allies,
Don't do that, Jason. Don't do
shouldn't
that.
they be lining up? You know what I mean? I could be wrong.
That.
Somebody fact
I know.
Off the top of my head, but I'm just saying, like the big military conflicts we've been in, how many of our allies said, "Hey, you know what, U.S., we're going in with you"?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. I don't think they joined us in Vietnam. I'm positively sure they ain't joined us in Vietnam.
Yeah, but we have all these allies, Wayne. I hear about all these allies all over the world that are our allies. And how many wrote us a check? None. How many gave money to us? None. How many sent people over,
Yeah.
after 9/11 to help dig into things? I mean, like, that's not an ally. We're a sugar daddy, and I'm sick of it. I'm glad President Trump is redefining those relationships.
Except for with Israel.
What's that?
Except for with Israel.
I think he might be done. He seemed legitimately.
We'll see. You know what? I think if they break the ceasefire, I think that they might have kissed the baby with that one. But
yeah, you made Trump look bad. That would be a bad idea.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
Whether that's how it should be or not.
That's what it is. You make him look bad. He gonna be, and I'm so glad he saw what I saw last night, because I was like, wait a minute, they just worked it out, and Israel's attacking them. I was like,
and they fired a lot. Like, I think if I have the timeline right, like Iran fired first.
No,
and it was from a weird spot. I could be wrong. But what I saw is it was from like a weird spot where it's like some idiot hit the button and shouldn't have. And then Israel's like, they attacked us. Here's 100 million. It's crazy.
Yeah, and then President Trump was like, yeah, they dropped the load.
Yes.
They dropped the load. I've never seen anybody drop a load like that before. They dropped the load over there. I was like, oh man. Yeah. But it is what it is, and we are where we are, and we want to thank everybody for tuning in to the show. Those numbers aren't right. Something's wrong with Twitter. But I want to thank nearly 5,000 on Twitter right now watching. Thank you so much for tuning in. And thank all the other platforms that are watching. Getter, you're not forgotten. Love you. Does really get fixed? Nope.
Yeah. I think really still being. Oh no, Twitch is being silly today.
Twitch is messing up. YouTube, subscribe for me, please. Subscribe for me. Let's get to 30,000. Okay. And honestly, you really don't hear me talking about numbers, so forget the 30,000. Subscribe, hit the notification so that you are notified when we go live. Share what we're doing, okay? Because it takes a long time. I work on these graphics and stuff. I don't work on it just for 2-3 people. I try to make it look good for y'all. And hopefully today we spoke. Yeah, we did. We spoke about, because sometimes, when I come with the subject, we'll go here and go here and go here, and we don't even talk about things.
Yeah, so sometimes those are fun.
Apologize. Yeah, I apologize for that. But that was a nice graphic. I really like that graphic.
Good graphic.
That was a real good graphic. The middle Trump graphic. He has a new official portrait one.
Mm-hmm.
I use that as the inspiration for that. Yeah. I was like, I can do that. I can do that. All right. We got to go. Once again, thanks for tuning in, and we'll be back tomorrow. It is Taco Tuesday, so if you eat tacos and Mexican food tonight, have fun at it. Tomorrow's hump day, and if you have any questions, let us know. Put it in the comments. I'll check. All right. Let's see. Common Sense on Twitter said, I'm old school. I don't beat up the guy who's fighting for me.
Right.
People who do have never accomplished what he has, and they look desperate for attention. If you don't agree, pray for God's guidance, but don't help the enemy ever. So, good job. All right, Jason, give me some last thoughts. Let's go and get out of here. It's hot today. So,
oh, yeah. That's why you get your lawn mowed at 7 in the morning. I got 3 thoughts for my final thought. First thought is, one thing I love about President Trump, he is going to do his best for what he thinks is going to be best for this country. And that's why I have very low tolerance for any of these clowns that want to attack Trump. I may disagree. Hey, I think he should do this or the other thing. But at the end of the day, we elected him. None of the people criticizing him would have the courage to stand up and do what Trump did. So that's part of why I love Trump. That's part of why I trust his judgment. Doesn't mean I won't say, I don't know about this one. But at the end of the day, I fully support Trump and what he's doing, and I think we're blessed to have him. Second thought of the day, it's interesting when you talk and you watch some of these discussions go on, people on the left really just don't understand how things work and what makes things go. And that's why part of why Trump is such an anomaly to them, or even people on MAGA. If you think about it, like how many projects have you started and like, oh, I think this is how it'll go. And you change and adapt and adjust to what actually functions and works. And it's never what you drew up. It never turns out how you think you're going to. But conservatives, people on the right can function in that. And the people on the left can't. They're like, oh, this should work. Why doesn't it work? And I think that's part of why the country struggles. And the final thought, something to keep, and hopefully we can talk about this tomorrow. New York might do the funniest thing ever. So
I don't know if it's the funniest, Jason. Jason, I know where you're going with that. If they elect him, he's going to run for president.
He can't. He's not an American citizen.
Oh, he's not? Okay.
No. So in New York, there is a primary. It sounds like Adams is going to run as an independent. and it's Cuomo is running in the primary for the Democrat nominee against Zohan Kwame Mombadi, who was born in 1991, so he's like 30-some years old. He is a Democrat socialist who was born in Kampala, Uganda, to Indian Ugandan academics. He went to college to study African studies, and he became a U.S. citizen in 2018. He is running on a platform of housing reform, free buses, debt relief. He's going to do city-run grocery stores, rent freezes, free city transit, universal free healthcare paid for by taxing the wealthy. And I mean, he is a foreign-born communist, and it looks like he's going to win the Democrat nomination for mayor of New York City. Oh my God, I am so excited. I hope he wins because I would like to see New York try to institute these policies and watch what happens. Like for decades, everybody's been talking on the left, like, oh, we need free healthcare. We need free this, free that. Go do that in New York. Let me know how it works out for you kids.
Did you say Uganda?
Yeah. He was born in Kampala, Uganda. Yeah. In 1991. Like, I graduated college or high school in like 92. Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's him.
Uganda?
He's from Uganda. Yeah. He's an Indian from Uganda who's a communist.
I think things are changing, man.
We're gonna have to talk about him tomorrow. It looks like he's going to win the primary. Now that would mean he'd have to run against Adams, him, and then whoever the Republicans nominated.
Oh,
yeah, this is just the primary, and I think don't quote me. I think Adams is saying he's going to run as an independent. So then there will be a Democrat and a Republican, but the fact that he could win the Democrat nomination is just a Ugandan communist.
This whole world is